Hello. Hi, guys. Happy Wednesday. Hello, Auntie Ann. Blueberry says, hey, y'all. Dan O.P. Cola, hello. Randy Jameson, hello, everyone. Any bets on if Mike will make an appearance? I'm going with 6:45. We'll see. Honestly, I don't know. He's had a super busy week at work, and so I can hear him on the phone right now. He may not be able to pop out at all. So you might be just stuck with me, guys. I'm sorry. I know it's more fun when he's out here and we can do the lives together, but really, it's such a crapshoot as to when I can nail him down. Even when we're shooting and doing regular projects, like it's really hard. That's one of the reasons why I started doing sipping and spillings by myself, because I can't ever get him nailed down and sneak away for a few minutes to go do it. It's really hard sometimes. So he is feeling better, and so am I. Honestly, I feel like I sound kind of still, and I still have like a cough once in a while. I hit myself today with the toothbrush. I was brushing very aggressively before I got in the shower, and I think I bruised my gum. I feel it. All of a sudden, I was like, why is that sore now that I'm talking? And I'm like, that's why. Because I punched myself in the face with my toothbrush. Do not recommend. David Glunt, I dropped your little envelope in the mail today. So this afternoon. So it probably won't go out till, well, I did drop it off this afternoon. So it may have left at like the 5 o'clock pickup. So, because I was in town this afternoon. So we'll see. Let me know when it gets to you. We'll see how long the mail takes, because our town's postal service is sort of like, we may get there through sleet and snow and rain, or we may not. So, bless them. Oh, I got blurry. My camera got mad because I moved. See? Yeah, he does have to work, so, you know how it is. I am feeling better, Greg. Thank you. Yeah, Monday was a little rough for me. Wasn't feeling great, and I had a lot of work to do. I had mentioned, for those of you who watch Sippin' and Spillin', I had mentioned that this week was going to be a crazy week for me. And praise and hark, Thursday night, there's actually a change of plans, so I'm so relieved about. Y'all know Frankie is like president of her FFA, and she's just killing it. She's doing this audition for color guard, and they've been having her like help with color guard, like to train the other girls that are also auditioning. They were like pulling her out and setting her up in the front as an example. So, and she's finally like, Mom, thank you so much for making me take all those years of dance, because it's coming in handy. And I'm like, you're welcome. But anyway, so she's got her first performance with them on Thursday night. And originally her and her friend were supposed to come home with me that night. And then the performance got moved to even later. So they weren't even going to perform until like 7:30, I think it is now, on Thursday. But their performance got moved later. And then they were supposed to come home with me. And then I was going to have to get 2 teenage girls up and out of the house by 3:30 in the morning after a sleepover, to get them to school so that they could then drive to the FFA junior state officer and interviews and the separate competition that they're going to. Praise and hark, Mr. Malone. Shout out to Mr. Malone for, oh, not Mr. Malone, I'm sorry, Mr. Johnson. Mr. Malone's the color guard guy. Mr. Johnson, the FFA guy, for saying, you know what, girls, he already was postponing. He was going to have them leave in the morning because everybody else is leaving right after school. So he, bless him, because he didn't want the girls to have to miss their color guard because they were really like angsting over it. He was like, I will drive you in the middle of the night. I will drive you to Jackson. So I was like, oh, I don't have to be up and get 2 teenage girls out of the house at 3:30 in the morning, because then I was going to have to turn around, come home, do my farm chores, and get Tashka and drive to get her down to West Point by 7:30 for her drop off to get spayed. So I was like stressing about Thursday, because I was like, man, that's going to suck. I'm going to be up late. I'm going to have to deal with the girls. Then I'm going to have to get up. And so hark and praise. Hark and praise. Yeah. So I need a lot of wire to keep that pup out of the pen during daylight. Yeah, if you guys watched Tuesday's video, that puppy, I'm telling you, she cracks me up. She literally, I had my knife and my paracord and I was cutting it and talking on the tripod, and it was just a comedy of it. I didn't even include everything that happened in that. If you haven't watched it, you have to watch it just for the comedy of errors that took place between the dog, the goats. Anyway, at one point, I had set my knife down to pull the paracord, and she runs over and grabs the handle of the knife, and she's running with the knife in her mouth. I was like, why are you armed? What is happening? So, I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Yeah. So, especially with this week, I wasn't feeling fantastic and I knew I had a busy week. So, you know, I was like, I don't know how much more I can handle this week, you know. So, I did manage to finish both the videos for this week. And I think, guys, I'm going to actually do, if everything goes according to plan, I'm going to be setting up a premiere for Friday's video. And I don't know exactly what time yet. I'm thinking I'm probably going to do it. I'm either going to do it at like 3 o'clock or 6 o'clock on Friday, depending on a few things. I might probably do 6 o'clock. I don't know. So I'm going to try to do a premiere for Friday for this video. It's a longer video. It's like 50 minutes long. And it is Frankie and Mike having an absolutely epic camping and fishing trip with everything from fire like, to fishing with cane poles and like just having a blast. So, and some really funny father-daughter moments in there. So I know, I'm glad she didn't pick it up by the blade either. She's a puppy. She's like 5 months old. She's still learning everything, you know. So, oh, that's right. I knew somebody went live on Fridays. I was thinking it was Monday, but that's when David goes live, and sometimes Mike's with him. Maybe I'll try to do it at like 5 o'clock then, or maybe 7 o'clock. I don't know. I don't want to do it too late because then I won't be able to last that long. Maybe I'll do it at like 5. We'll see. We'll see. It's hard to not step on somebody's toes sometimes when you want to do a premiere, just because they tend to be a lot of times later in the day if you're doing it during the week. So it's kind of hard to sometimes not accidentally have it going at the same time. So I sound awful, but I feel better. So should name the goat pen Salig 13. I'm not picking up that reference, Greg. It's going right over my head. So I missed whatever Marcus said, but yes, I am very active around the farm. I do lift weights. Yes, there it is. I see it now. I do lift weights. Yeah, I do. I do exercise outside of just all the stuff I do. In fact, today, this is the kind of stuff that happens with my ADD brain sometimes. I had to refill. This is where my train of thought went. I will take you guys along for the ride. I had to refill the dog's food feeder. The one was empty. And it's the one that they prefer to eat out of, even though the other one was still 90% full. But anyway, I was going to fill the other feeder. And so I picked up the other bag of puppy food and I was taking it over there. And then I noticed on my way, I'm like, on the back of the garage, I'm like, oh, all the boxes from when the puppy food got delivered are still sitting right here. I should burn these. So I put the puppy food down and I start carting boxes over to the burn pile. Then I had a couple of like feed bags that were empty that I had put in the burn barrel. So I was like, oh, I'll light off the burn barrel. And then I was like, oh, well, I'll just light these boxes too. And then I was like, oh, there's all these tree limbs that are down from like storms from the winter. And a couple that Mike had cut when he put the camera over by the goat pen. And so I thought, well, I'll just drag all these branches. And some of them were like not just branches, they were limbs. They weren't just like twigs and branches. I was like dragging over limbs that were taller than me, and some of them were pretty thick around. So I start dragging these over. And meanwhile, I've lit the fire, right? I've lit both of the fires. So, and Mike was up. It was probably like by the time I did that, it was probably like 8:30 by the time I got around to lighting off the fires. Um, and so all of a sudden Mike comes out and he's like, I saw smoke out the window. He said, I figured you were burning. He came out with a bunch of boxes that he had just cleaned out from his office to throw in there. And so I kept, and then we saw a branch that was broken in the oak tree out back. So he got the tractor out and knocked it with the bucket and drug it over. So we were dragging things around. 4 o'clock seems to be a good time to do premieres. Okay, that's good to know. Then 4 o'clock it is. Then I'll do 4 o'clock on Friday if I can manage to do set it up in time for that. There's here's my one hiccup with that is that while it does have what we would say is like a product that we're using in there. It's not like an ad, but it's like a sponsored video. So they just have to have approval, and it's just one of those things where I can't set it up for a premiere until I get the go ahead from them that like it's all clear. So I've sent them the link, and like I'm just waiting to hear back. But it's one of those things where it's just sort of off in the background, and we don't really like we show it obviously and we use it in there, but it's more of a thank goodness. I prefer the companies that like it to be more like natural and not like an ad that's inserted. But sometimes you got to do those too because we still have to make money. This YouTube is my job outside of the farm stuff, and so I have to find ways to make it profitable. So, what are you gonna do? Shiloh Acres, hello. Just got home from your daughter's archery practice. Nice. Stalag 13 was a German POW camp during World War II. That's funny. I've never heard of that. I know a lot of weird, like I've studied World War II and I feel like I know a decent amount about it, but I've never heard of that particular POW camp before. So interesting. I know. I did finally, after I moved all the limbs, I did go back to the dog food. Which I ended up, apparently the bag was split on the side and I didn't realize it. And so I trailed puppy food all across the yard, which of course Mr. Bunko found and happily ate. So it was a wash. But I was like, really? Because dog food's not cheap. So it wasn't that much that spilled. And the one big chunk of it that fell out, I scooped up and dealt with. But, I was just like, oh man. But that was the beginning part of the day. It was just, and I was like, I really don't have time to do this because I still need to go finish uploading my video and like writing the description and doing all that stuff. But sometimes when I get distracted and focused at the same time, I just have to see it to the end. So that's what happened. So I just started burning everything that was on the ground, tree limbs, branches, boxes. I burn it all down. And yes, that was a score for Bunko. That's right. I came with Jackie Boy. Hello. Paula Thompson. Hello. Squirrel. Ex-Cali folks with fire. I know, right, Dana Piccola? I know. I'm telling you, it is one of life's greatest luxuries to just be able to walk out my back door and light a fire. I just absolutely love that. But I can just burn stuff anytime I want to. I find that very therapeutic. Because you know what I used to have to do? I used to have to break down every single cardboard box. And I used to have to try to fit it into the recycling bin. There goes my cough again. It's because I'm talking so much. Excuse me, guys. I'm sorry. I know that sounds awful. What made my eyes water? But anyway, but yeah, so just one of those things, cough made me lose my train of thought too. Ooh. Hi, our mountain home. Hello. Oh yeah, I used to try to fit my brain. Used to try to fit everything into the recycle bin, which is like a trash can, which nothing fits in that. You can't fold boxes small enough. And so then you try to kind of disguise them in your dumpster so that when they dumped it, they didn't really see it. because if they would see it, they could report you and you could get in trouble. So you had to like disguise it with other things wrapped around it. So I did that a lot because it wouldn't fit. So, oh, it was in Hogan's Heroes. Gotcha. Gotcha. Oops. Accidentally hitting buttons I shouldn't hit. Hi, our mountain home. Can't tag on my phone, trying to cook supper while I listen. That's what happened to me while I was watching Mama Beat earlier. I guess Paul was saying something to me and I didn't see any of it because I was listening to her and occasionally chiming in, but I was not watching my phone. I was cooking. So, you know, Mike had made some beef broth out of some meat that he had smoked, and there was like leftover. So he made some stock out of it. And then and I had made some chicken. So it's like chicken in beef stock with vegetable soup. Kind of weird, but it's what I had. I had some chicken that I'd already cooked, and I was like, "You're going in the pot." So sometimes I have to like really reinvent leftovers, or they won't eat them. And then I stood in the kitchen while that was happening, ate a handful of nuts and an artichoke dipped in hummus because that was left over from 3 nights ago. So that was dinner for me because I didn't have time to wait for the soup. That's life. Colin Voss, you planted tomatoes today. That's awesome. That's awesome. Paul Honeyman says, yes, thanks, Shiloh Acres. Doctor's happy with my tendons knitting together so well, so fast, but annoyed my diabetes isn't improving. He's increased meds for that. Oh, I'm sorry. That's a bummer. I'm glad your physical ailment is healing, but I'm sorry your diabetes is out of control. It's not happy. Pollen has been so bad this year. I've had a cough like that since early January. Oh no, Neil, I'm sorry. Mine is, I think, more, I don't know. I feel like it's more of like a bug than pollen. Just because even though I don't have a fever or anything, but because it like went through the household, like we all got it. Like Frankie got it first. A couple days later, Mike got it. A couple days later, I got it. So I was doing my best to stay away from them, but it's almost impossible. So your trash service will pick up anything. I can even hand them boxes and stuff beside the dumpster. Oh, that's nice, Auntie Anne. That's nice. Oh yeah, Greg says they spot check for your recycle cans in the Bay Area. Yeah, welcome to California. Which it all ends up going in the landfill pretty much anyway. So it's like, does it really matter? I don't know. Nobody cares in Oklahoma. I know exactly. That's right. I'm telling you, that's one of the things. Well, I had shared, I think on, I don't know where I shared it. I think I shared it on Facebook that I had gotten an email from San Diego County about my recycling because I had done a I'll do my own recycling thing, so I didn't have to pay the additional $60 for them to now charge me to make me recycle. So I was like, I'll take it to the recycling place myself and make the money on whatever bottles or whatever we have. And they wanted you to keep a log book of it. So they emailed me to ask me for my log, and I was like, I don't live there anymore. I left your tyrannical state and I bailed. Like I sent them like this whole email basically saying like, I dipped. You're on your own. Figure it out. I think I posted on Facebook, but yeah. Tim, Ridge Life says, why am I always here before Mike? I know, man. I'm telling you, he would have left me waiting at the altar if I hadn't like dragged him somewhere, I guess. I don't know. But yeah. I did I bit the bullet. I had actually I messaged well, I messaged a few people because it was in our group chat, but I knew Tim would chime in because I knew he would answer me. I've been just struggling with like the sound on my videos because lots of reasons. When we use the GoPro, it's mostly okay because it's got the sound pack thing on it. It's not technically like a separate microphone as far as like one that you would wear or something, but it's got the little, it works pretty dang well for what it is, if the conditions aren't too crazy, right? So, but I've had these little, you guys probably see me wear them more in like sip and spill, and I do wear them a lot of times if I'm in doing a regular 3 Mississippi video where I have to like do the intro, the outro, or like explain something in the middle or whatever. If I'm going to be doing something farther away, I'll wear it. But the sound quality is not good. They were really cheap microphones. But Mike kept telling me, like, hold off, don't buy anything else, just whatever. And I was like, well, I need something. And then I've gone through like 4 different packs of these microphones for various reasons. Like the receiver quit working, the microphone died. But now what I find that they do is they start crackling. Hey, Gypsy Trails, $10 super chat. Howdy, Sid. Thank you, Randall. I saw you were hanging out with the family the other day too. I forget whose video I was watching or whose post it was. I watched a bunch of people's videos the other day, so they start to mix up in my mind. But I remember somebody was like, "That's Gypsy Trails over there," and I was like, "Oh," like somebody in the video or somebody in the post. I can't remember, but I was like, "Oh, look at that." But anyway, are you coming to the meetup in Blue Mountain? Out of curiosity. Anyway. So anyway, I pulled the trigger today after talking to Tim because I was between 2 models. I knew I wanted the Rode ones, but I was between 2 of the models, and the one has like a memory bank thing in it, and I guess it also works as a microphone, so it's technically 3 microphones if you want to use the receiver that way. I think that's how I read it. I could be wrong. I was also very tired while I was reading that portion. But anyway, that was after my pyrotechnics this morning and after chores and while I was finishing editing a video. And anyway, just living my best life. So anyway, long story short, I pulled the trigger. I got the Pro one, like you said. And it's supposed to ship fast. Like it's supposed to be here tomorrow. I don't know where it's coming from, but like they put it on an express airliner. And it's supposed to be here like lickety split. So I'm hoping I can get it to work properly and figure it out. I'm gonna have to play around with it a little bit. I don't think there's that much of a learning curve, but it should just be pretty much plug it in, make it go. But I'm excited because it'll make editing easier. It'll just make life mo better. It'll make life mo better. So I'm excited about it. I wasn't thrilled about having to spend that much money at all because I've been putting it off for a while too. I probably should have pulled the trigger on that like a while ago, but I figure at this point with all the little cheap microphones that I bought that have not worked very well for very long, I should just bite the bullet and get the good ones and hope that they last and not let Mike be in charge of them because that's when things break. Things like that. I mean, not that he's just not always very careful with things, and he'll like put it somewhere weird, like underneath the back of a truck tire, or like, why would you put that there? You know, things just tend to like break or go missing around him. Like I always call him, was it Pigpen or Linus? Linus was the one with the blanket. Pigpen was the one with the dust all around him. That's Mike. Just chaos everywhere. That's Mike. Big bowl of chaos. That's my husband. So I will put that $10 super chat towards my better sounding mic lapels. I appreciate you, Randall. Yes, Blue Mountain. I can't talk. Yes, on Blue Mountain Lake, maybe on 10 Killer if I feel better. Well, I didn't know you were sick, but I hope you feel better. I'm glad you're going to Blue Mountain because that's what I'm going to. If you said you were going to 10 Killer and not Blue Mountain, I'd be like, that does not affect me. I won't see you. But yeah. Tim says he went to PT today and then had you doing squats and climbing stairs. Woo! They work right out of the box. No setup needed. We'll see about that. If I can complicate stuff. Well, here's my thing. I know because I read that in order to make it work, because a lot of times, here's my problem. Here's my problem. When we shoot with the GoPro, Mike has to take all the footage and do something to it. I forget. It's not rendering it, but he calls it something else. I can't remember. Anyway, my computer won't see it. Even just my computer won't look at it correctly. It's all choppy and weird, and that's just to look at the file. That's not even in any like editing software or anything. And then when I try to put in editing software, it's super cranky and it's impossible to work with. And I've tried doing the separate optimization and all the BS, and that's for the birds. I can't do it. My computer's not fast enough, and I don't have time for that. So because then it just I can't. I have too many. I can't. So anyway, I've given up that ghost. So I give the footage to Mike. Mike does the magic to it and gives me back the files raw, but happy that my computer will see them. So that's what we do. We have to do the same thing for anything from when our friend comes over with the drone. Same thing with anything from the trail cam footage. He has to like do this thing to it and I can make it happen. So that being said, I know from my research, like for the most time, I film with my phone for the most part because, which I know is not as great, but it's not bad. Um, and we do film with the GoPro. In fact, this next video is almost exclusively shot with the GoPro with very few, there's a couple scenes that I shot of them. But for the most part, they took the GoPro and they went and just shot. So, I did, and Mel had even said with hers, like there's a certain connector that you have to have between the receiver and your phone. If you're using it with your phone, it's like a C15 or C15 or some, I don't know. So anyway, I'm just hoping that, and it's supposed to come with that from what I understand. So hopefully I can make it work and it not be crazy. So we'll see about that. Tim says, I'm sorry if I missed someone. He's trying to say hi to everybody back that's saying hi to him. Paul says, hush, we can hear the diva. I know he was on the phone. I think he just hung up because it got quiet in there. It got quiet in there. Now I feel self-conscious for talking loud in the living room. So I don't know. Heartland HQ with Dink and Tank. Hello. I gotta go let my phone charge before we have to turn the generator off. Oh my goodness. Catch y'all later. All right. We'll see you later, Jen. Don't let your phone die. Drew's Lens Reacts is in the house. Buy a new computer, Sid. You deserve your life to be better. No, but here's my problem with that too. I don't like change. Number one. And I'd have to like reprogram everything and set it up. Like right now I have everything. Like I know how to, like life is smooth as far as that goes because I know how to make everything happy. I don't know why my computer won't look at those files. I haven't figured it out. I'm not super computer savvy. And so I don't know why it won't see it. And I tried doing different like program things that are supposed to make it happy. I don't know. It's just easier to hand it to my husband and let him do it because I cannot figure it out. I've spent hours trying to figure it out and trying to get it to work when we first got the GoPro. And I finally was like, I cannot spend one more day trying to figure this thing out. Like there is nothing gonna make it happy. So I deuced it and I was like, nope, not gonna happen. I do like my computer. My computer works really well. It's pretty fast. It just, for whatever reason, I guess is just old enough that it can't talk to the new GoPros. I don't know. Because it worked fine with our old one that we gave to DD5 when we were getting this one because it was better. It's supposed to be better quality or whatever. And our old GoPro was still in good shape. And I was like, well, Mike was like, we should, they need it and we don't need it. We're going to be getting a new one. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Then we got the new one and I couldn't figure out how to make it work with my computer. And I was like, dang it. But I mean, it works. The GoPro works. It's just me that doesn't know how to make it work, I guess. I need like a GoPro boot camp, I think is probably what I need. So Windows stopped working with AVI files from many trail cams. GoPro uses multiple MP4 files. All PCs should work with what you have but you have to get them synced with the file splits. I have no idea what the last half of that sentence meant at all, Tim, but bless you for trying to explain it to me. I have no idea. I don't know what a file split is. No idea why it needs to be synced. I don't know. But I don't know why it won't work. And my Actually, I think it played on my computer. Hold on now. That's right. It would play on my computer, but it won't work in my software. That's what it was. But I don't have, what do you call it? Premiere. Mike does. I don't. And I refuse to pay for the same thing twice. And there's supposed to be a way that he can get it on my computer too, but we haven't figured it out because it's something he has to do. Anyway, that hasn't happened. And I really like using my DaVinci Resolve because I know how it works and I know how to make it happy. And so that's what I use. But for some reason, DaVinci Resolve won't talk to my GoPro footage. That was the problem. And then I went down the whole optimization, the file thing, and it still wouldn't work right. And I changed all the settings and I did all the things. Anyway, I gave up on it. I just was like, you know what? I have other things to do that were like, I'd rather be outside messing with the animals than staring at the computer. Like, I want it to just work. When I go and plug something in, it should just work. That's what computers are supposed to do. I'm sorry. I know that's stupid, but that's how I feel like they should be. It should be magic. It should do what I want it to do when I wanted to do it. That's the whole point of having a computer, right? Am I wrong here? I don't know. I feel like that's what they're supposed to do. So I'm just saying. Paul says that's why Lindsay loves you, Drew. That's true. He's just like, get a new computer, babe. There was a point where I thought my computer was breaking. And thank goodness I said something in the group chat. And Anthony from Country Road Cure was like, it sounds like your battery is fixing to like explode in your computer. Because my whole thing was coming apart. You guys remember me talking about that. And I thought I was gonna have to just, like, go get a new computer right then because I was like, "I don't know how to fix this, and it's getting worse," and it kept turning itself off and doing all this weird stuff, and it was all because of the battery. And I was like, "Why didn't I ask you this in chat 6 months ago?" I had no idea. So now I know if I have, like, an issue, I just need to ask Anthony and be like, "What is what is this?" "Oh, it's this. Go just take it out." "Cool." I was like I was holding it together with a chip clip. I didn't know. I didn't know my computer was literally like a ticking time bomb. It was like the battery was gonna explode. I had no idea. I had no idea. Neil S says, Drew's Lens reacts. You were the guy in the Geico commercial. Oh my. Drew's Lens reacts says, I'm a caveman too, Sid. That's right. In the Geico commercial. That's right. I know. I mean, I like technology, don't get me wrong, but when it starts to get complicated and then it starts to have all those terms about syncing PCs and splitting files and HDMI, MP4, 3, wave, whatever. No, no, ma'am. Mm-mm. I want to plug it in. I want to download it. I want this to go here. Like, I don't like it to be fancy. I just want it. That's what I want, you know? So I don't know. I just like, I guess I'm old school when it comes to that stuff. My daughter can do it like all on her phone, and I'm like, I need the screen, I need the mouse. Like, I'm over here. Got figured out. Yeah, note to self: if your computer's going to explode, just put a chip clip on it. To be fair, when I put said chip clip on said laptop, I was not aware that it was about to explode. I did not know that that was the issue. When he you should if honestly, if I had been rolling camera at that point, I'm literally sitting there messaging the group chat and Anthony comes back with it's about to explode. You shouldn't put the chip clip on it. I was like just like slowly taking it off. I was like, then I was like looking at it like it was a bomb for the next like, day until I could get to the computer repair place because oh, I should have read that comment before your comment, but I didn't know. I didn't know. Two old people on a couch. What is up, Mark and Debbie? What's happening? What's happening? Mr. Mayhem. So did the goat shank you with the knife? No, it was actually Tashka, the dog, the puppy that picked up the knife. Luckily, she didn't, but I was terrified because she like picked it up by the handle and was just running like I was like, she's gonna stab another. I mean, the knife was sharp. Mike had sharpened it not that long ago, but I've used it a lot too, so it probably wasn't super sharp. But I was like, oh my gosh, please drop it. Like, give it to me. And she did. She came right back over and dropped it in front of me. And I was like, oh my gosh, don't run around and like she's gonna be slicing all my animals. It's gonna be like that scene from Star Wars where he like opens up the what's that thing on Tatooine or whatever. No, that's where the thing was. I don't know, whatever. And he shoves it in the thing and it smells bad. That's all I could think of. Was all my animals were gonna have like their guts spilled out because she's running around with this knife in her mouth. That's just not a good look. So needs a computer she can talk to and tell it what to do, and it does it, and will understand her arm swinging too. Yes, yes, that's what I need. I need a computer that will just understand. You coming in?
Sure.
The diva's here, guys. Who said it? Oh, who's the closest? Somebody said 6:45. They were 10 minutes off.
Did the goat shank you with that knife?
No, we just talked about that.
No. I tried to jump in it.
Yeah, I was already there. Sorry.
Did you talk about the video that's coming out? Yo, what's up, Tim?
So is the paracord better than the zip ties? Remember the birds when you first saw them? Yeah. So
Drew, love you, brother.
I need baling wire. So tomorrow, I'm actually going to the feed store tomorrow. They should have baling wire there.
You know they don't call it baling wire anymore.
What do they call it now?
They just call it
Wire. That's weird.
Yeah.
Because
they don't use
bales.
Yeah. They don't use wire for baling anymore. And the wire that used to be used for baling was the wire that people used to have extra laying around. So they would be like, oh, some baling wire. But then when people started saying, hey, we'll just make some rolls of this and sell it, it's like duct tape. You know?
Well,
it's not real duct tape.
Can I still call it baling wire?
You can call it baling wire. I don't know why I felt like having that conversation.
That's fine. I need to get some of that because the paracord, at first she tried to chew on
Farmers Only 10, you like that?
First she tried to chew it. She managed to loosen some of them and take them completely off. So I had to like redo those. Those have held, but there's still one where she got it off and I don't know where it went. So I need to replace them all with baling wire. So I'm
no, don't replace them all. Replace them with a single. The only critique that I had when I was watching the video, because I was not there while she was doing that, and I'm proud that she did it.
I've done it before. Yeah. I've used baling wire and done it.
But the only critique I had is instead of cutting a bunch of individual pieces and tying them on,
I should have looped it all the way through.
It should have been one continuous piece.
All right, well it wasn't. So that was my. Yeah. I was also filming and talking and not thinking. Like, you know what I mean? Sometimes that goes that way. But anyway, I need to put baling wire through there, and I need to fix. I also need to fix the goat's little thing so I can lock them in there. Because when I try to wash, both of their.
Thank you, Paul.
What?
He's defending my farmer's stand.
Oh, yeah.
I worked for it.
That's true. Oh, he's telling No Work Life that you worked for it.
I did too.
Oh wait, we gotta go. No Work Life because he's got his leg up now.
How is that leg, by the way?
He's doing better. He's going to PT and
doing
squats.
I saw him doing.
He's gonna have buns of steel.
I saw him doing some workouts. Yeah, you're actually. You know what? I mean, I'm not saying this was a good thing because it certainly was not. But I bet you're gonna come out of this in better shape than you went into it because all the PT you're doing right now is good for you. At our age, brother, it's good to find motivation to exercise for sure. So
yeah, Tim says I would do one continuous piece with the wire, but the paracord, I think he needs like wrapped with it. That way the dogs may cut one piece and the others just a whole. Yeah.
Yeah, no, good point. Yeah, with the paracord, if they did cut one, the others are still there. Yeah. Yep, for sure. Yeah, great video coming out Friday. I'm super excited about it. I will say that both Frankie and I agree that
never happens.
We agree sometimes.
Oh, sometimes.
Probably more often than you and I agree.
Well, that's true. 100% true.
Except for just now, we agreed. So, both Frankie and I agree that Friday's video, when we shot it on Saturday, last Saturday, was the most genuine day of shooting. And by that, I mean, we were just genuinely having a good time the entire time. and brought the camera along with us.
Yeah, they were, and it's funny like watching because I wasn't there for it, so it was just them alone. And there's times where like, because I'll hear them like if I'm working upstairs and she's telling him about her day when he gets out of work or whatever, I can hear their little banter when they think that I'm, it's not that they think I'm not there, but like, when they're just the two of them.
When we talk smack about mom.
Yeah, that too. But you can hear like the way that they are together, and it's like they have like a really cute relationship. It's very playful and funny, but then he'll also like pull rank on her right away, which I guess I kind of do that with her too. But it's nice to see a father-daughter relationship like that. Anyway, this video is very much a lot of that. Just back and forth and nipping at each other and like, but it's so funny and so cute. So.
Yeah, she has come into her own, and I mean, look, I encourage her to. I encourage her to be her own person, right? I mean, I want when her and I are doing something that friends do together, like going fishing or cooking over a campfire or whatever. I want us to act like friends, and I want her to feel comfortable, with that banter. Mm-hmm. It's only when we're doing something where I feel there needs to be a parenting moment or a teaching moment, or we're working, and I'm like, that's not how you dig a hole. Like, those look, it's still our job to parent, right? Even though she's mostly cooked off.
Yeah. Well, I think it's different too because we have an only child. There's a different dynamic in the household when you have one kid versus when you have two or more.
Right.
It just is. Like growing up as an only child, he grew up with siblings. Like it's a different dynamic in the home,
So, ooh, Shallow Acres has been a member for 9 months.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
I hope I'm home in time for the premiere. I hope so too. I'm gonna try to do. Auntie Anne says that in her best guesstimation, 4 o'clock is a good time to do the premiere on Friday.
4 o'clock, and we're Central Time. So
yeah,
if you're on the East Coast, it's going to be 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of people, it's going to be 4 o'clock. And then if you're like in Texas, New Mexico, that'd be 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
David Glenn says, I love the video with Mike and Frankie when Mike gave her the necklace after shooting the deer. Yeah, that was a great one. That video of them doing all the hunting, like when they just take the camera and they go off the two of them and have like their little interactions, that video was 100% that. Of them just little snippets of the whole hunting season of them just in the tent, in the blinds, just back and forth, practicing and getting ready. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. We have our moments where she's a teenage girl and I am
Hola, Miguel.
Hola. We have those moments where she's a teenage girl and I'm a teenage girl's father, mm-hmm. and she's mad at me mm-hmm. for doing my job. Mm-hmm. But
I get the same thing.
Yeah, look, she would not have turned out to be as good as she has turned out to be if we didn't parent.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's times where she'll be like, oh, Mom, you're the best. You're the best. Because I did whatever for her. Or I took care of something for her. I helped her with something. And then the next time when I crack down on her about something because she forgot to do her chores. And I'm like, hey, I told you, blah, 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 blah. And she'll be like, oh, Mom, you're so mean. I'm like, 5 minutes ago, I was the best mother ever. And I was your now you hate my gut.
The reality is I'm going to. Oh, wait, I'll tell you this story as soon as we talk about this. Gypsy Trails. $10 super chat.
I agree, but I think all your vids are great, and Frankie seems like a great kid. Thank you, Randall.
She is a great kid.
Thank you. You'll meet her at Blue Mountain.
Yep, and Shallow Acres, $2 super chat here.
Eastern timer.
Eastern timer
in Michigan.
Perfect. So it'll be 5 o'clock for you.
A Michigander.
But look, the reality is, it was only 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, and this is an example of sometimes how I parent. Okay. I'm not going to say what the thing was, but there was a thing that I've gotten on Frankie many times about. And I discovered that at like 1 a.m.
Oh, I know what it was.
The thing. And it was a school night, and she had stayed up late working on homework and had to get up early. And I marched in her bedroom and turned the light on and woke her up and got her out of bed because that was the only way she was going to hear me.
Yeah, she had left. He'd been repeatedly asked her to like clean up and after herself, and she hadn't. And he was like, no.
It was a specific thing.
It was a specific thing, and he was like,
And,
no.
Yeah.
Go take care of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Get out of bed. I don't care what time it is.
So I heard about that the next morning from everybody.
But sometimes look, it's like this. If you take your kid to Disneyland when they're 5 years old and they're acting up, and if you tell your kid at Disneyland, don't ever make this mistake. Don't ever tell your kid at Disneyland or at the water park or just at the park.
Yeah.
Don't ever say, if you don't straighten up, we're leaving.
Right. You have to be prepared to meet
unless you are going to follow through with that. And it's those moments where it's, maybe it's a bummer. Maybe you don't want to do that parenting thing.
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't want to go get her up at 1 a.m. But those are the moments that, look, I mean, you just gotta.
Yeah.
I
mean, there was maybe from the time she was about 2.5 till the time she was about 4, maybe not quite 4, more like late 3s. There was about 3 times, because you know how they are when they're 3, that 2.5 to 3, where they're just really testing you.
Yeah.
There was about 3 or 4 times where I made her face the wall in the middle of Walmart, bawling her eyes out. I was like, sorry, you acted up, you didn't listen. Like, and people walking by watching, and I'm just standing there with her, and she's just standing there sobbing, facing the shelf in the corner.
But that mitigated so much.
It did. And you just have to stick to your guns. And it was like, this is what we're doing now.
By not putting up with that kind of behavior out of the gate, we did not. I mean, think about when she was like, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, now 13, 14. She's I will just say she is a far above average.
Yeah. And she was always an easy, like, good kid. Like, she was always she was a good baby. She had a good, but I worked hard on from the beginning, getting her on a good sleep schedule. And I had, there were rules in place, from day one with her. Like, I don't mean to sound like I regimented her to death, but I had parameters for things, and it made it easier, I think, for both of us to navigate, because she'd never been a daughter before, and I'd never been a mom before. So we were both figuring it out. I mean, technically she should have been like my first pancake. She should have been thrown out, and we should have started again. But we did okay with the first pancake, so it's okay.
Wow.
I'm just saying.
Wow.
What? Shiloh Aker says, yep, we have a 14-year-old, 15 in June. Nice. Oh, yeah, they can be a lot. Oh, she's got many miles to go as a teen daughter. She does. I mean, I know we have some bumps in the road potentially ahead with, getting to the driving age, friends that can drive, getting into that whole thing.
Yeah.
And she's a smart kid, and she also, she's even told me, she's like, I don't understand these kids that do X, Y, and Z. That's stupid. I don't even want to be friends with them. She's,
and I don't think for a second that she's perfect.
Oh,
as far as no, let me rephrase that. She is perfect. I believe that we are all perfect. We are all perfectly imperfect in God's eyes. We are what we are. When I say she's not perfect, I mean that in the, just kind of the generic sense of the saying. She has kept things from me. She has lied to me. She has, all of these things that teenagers do, just not at the level that many do, and not about, so far yet, the anything big. I mean, the wrecking of the 4-wheeler was probably the biggest one that I know of.
And
I mean,
but props to her. She she went around and she found somebody to fix it.
Yeah, but they didn't actually fix it.
But they didn't actually fix it.
That's how I figured it out.
They mostly fixed it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that was funny.
Yeah.
And she told me about it first, I think, didn't she? Wasn't that the thing? She told me first, and then I was like, you have to tell your dad. Wasn't that, or was that something else? Was it the 4-wheeler?
There was something else that she told you.
And I was like, there's something I gave her a deadline on. You have to tell your dad by.
I forget what it was.
There's something she didn't have the courage to tell him. And I was like, look, I'm going to give you whatever it was, another day to get the courage up to tell I don't even remember what it was. It wasn't even that bad. I don't think.
No.
I even told her, I was like, he's not going to be mad at you. But you need to tell him.
Right.
I forget what it was. But anyway, she ended up telling him, and it was not a big deal, but clearly we don't even remember what it was. But I do remember like making that deal with her, like you whatever it was, you have to tell him, or I'm
by
going
this
to.
date, yeah.
Or I'm going to.
You know, as parents, we need to be able to be willing to do that. Like, look, if it was something really bad, that's off the table.
Right.
The moment I know, she has to know, or vice versa.
Right.
If something really bad happened and she didn't tell me,
oh, you'd be so mad.
I'd be very disappointed in like our partnership, right?
Yeah.
But there's a certain level of things that if she feels more comfortable telling Sid than myself, that's fine, because she told one of us. And now Sid can weigh it and say, look, is this something that Mike would be really mad if he didn't know? Yes. Okay. Then he needs to know.
Yeah.
Does he need to know right now? Or can Frankie have a couple of days to process this and tell him? Sure. Right?
Yeah.
Or the answer may have been, is this something he's going to be really mad if he didn't know? Probably not. Well, you know, it might be something about, you know, girl stuff that they just opt to never tell me. Right.
Yeah.
And I have to be okay with that. Right. As long as when she asks herself, is this something that Mike is going to
usually still end up telling you on the down low.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But like, you know, but there are certain things that, you know, girl stuff that she'll confide in me that eventually sometimes that I would never say like, oh, you have to tell your dad that because it's a boy thing or whatever. She might tell me first. And then she, in a couple of days, a week, I hear her then telling her dad. And I'm like, okay, she decided to tell him. Cool. You know, sometimes she likes to test stuff out on me first, I think, and then take it to dad.
Yeah.
Like dad's the scary.
I think it depends on, I think it also depends on how was our day, her and I. Did we work together and is she mad at me because I had to course correct her? Or did we go fishing and have fun and we're in that space?
Right.
And then where is she in her 28-day hormonal cycle? A lot comes into play about whether or not she's comfortable to tell me some things.
That's
you know?
true. Yeah. Tiffany says, I just watched your video about giving the baby goats their CD&T shots because I have to give mine their shots tomorrow. I think I can do it if you could do it with those nails and wearing a dress. 100%. 100%. Listen, these are 10 tools. My nail gal, she's a big equestrian and she wears her nails out to here that she does herself.
Yeah, it's absurd. I would cut your nails.
She wears like really, really long. I can't function with them that long. That's too long for me. But like to some people, these are too long. I don't know.
To me.
To you. But they're not that long. But she's like, but I mean, I use them. You've seen me use them for stuff. Like I legitimately do. And she says the same thing. She's like, nails are tools, not jewels. That's her like little motto. I'm like, that's 100% true.
I still see them get in the way. I watch them get in the way and I just bite my tongue because I'm like, I don't want to.
But I can't function without them at all. Like I really can't. I've had them for so long that like one of the reasons I got them like and wear them at a certain length is because when I was typing all the time, when I would keep my hands on the home key, my fingers were too short without like having to move my whole shoulder to like reach the next letter on the home key or on the home, what do you call it? Just went out of my head. The home thing.
Keyboard?
The home key. What is that? What do they call that? Is it home key? It's not a key. Home something. Home on the keyboard. Whatever. Anyway, your main thing where you're supposed to, you know, type from. You know what I'm talking about?
I think that only people who took an actual typing class.
Well, I
know
did,
the
and I typed
question.
a lot in my, you know, when I was in pharmacy. That was a lot, you know, a lot of this. Anyway, that's one of the reasons I kept them a certain length because it was easier for me to type. And then when I took them off for a while, I could not function.
Tim wants to know how the collards and broccoli are doing.
Actually came back a little. Well,
so,
the collards did.
Yeah, I mean, some of all of the above came back. We won't get any broccoli out of them probably because it's going to get too warm. You know, the plants had to essentially, like the goat just nipped them off like at the bottom, and then some new branches and leaves started. But it's going to get too warm for broccoli. We probably won't get any, but the collards we'll probably get some. And then also the Brussels sprouts got wiped out, and some of those came back as well. But I'm just letting them grow. even though I may not get anything out of them because I need some root structure in those rows. I need like, you know, biodiversity going on there.
Position. Thank you, Auntie Anne. I couldn't think of the word.
And who knows? Might get a couple of broccoli sprouts, like, you know, right before it gets too hot. So who knows? Probably still get some collards, but for the most part, my brassicas got.
Yeah. Charlotte Yucker says, oh, we get it for sure. I'm just happy Emmy got my sarcasm. First and foremost, Rob and I are proud that she respects others, and one thing that we definitely try to teach her for sure. 100%. Yeah. Who's going to get the I'm ready to date talk? You know, we have not really talked about that ourselves as far as like, she doesn't have like a set day of like when she can like, you have to be this old to date. But like
we haven't even given her a curfew. There's a lot of things we haven't discussed.
It really hasn't come up yet.
Yeah, I just don't feel like she's
not there yet.
She hasn't required it.
Yeah, she's not there yet. Like she's had a couple like boyfriends that she like went to church functions with, and like we were there, or like, you know what I mean? So it wasn't like he's picking me up and taking me to the movies type of situation.
Right. And I think when and that could happen any day.
Yeah.
But when that happens,
horrifying.
We're gonna have a conversation, and it's gonna be an in the moment conversation. Look, I think that we're both on the same brainwave.
Yeah, we've pretty much always been on the same brainwave.
I don't want to like sit down and draw up like a plan for how we're gonna handle that. Because I don't want it to feel like that, you know. I just like when she says so and so wants to pick me up and take me to the movies, I'm gonna be like, well,
tell him to come over 30 minutes early.
He needs to come over early. We need to meet him. And meanwhile, I'm gonna find out who his parents are. I'm gonna know where he lives.
Go around and kick his tires.
I'm gonna check his car out before they leave and make sure I got the license plate number. And I'm gonna look that kid in the eye, and he's gonna know that I got access to the hog barns. You know. I mean, without taking it too far or threatening him, I'm just gonna make sure that he looks her dad in the eye and knows he better not screw up.
That's right. Jim Dandy says, "Don't write off your broccoli yet. I pick it all year here in Aberdeen." Okay.
Hey, I'm glad to know that, but I because it doesn't get that hot here. It gets humid.
Yeah. But
it gets 90 and humid. It feels really hot.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I don't think it's ever actually been.
Yeah.
Like 100+ degrees. I think there was one day where it was like 101, like actually 101. On top of it was also like 12,000% humidity that day.
That's
it was just wet outside and hot. It was like it was like we were just being sous vide.
Just right. Like, in a wet blanket.
Yeah.
That's right, y'all. Simple Life is coming up here shortly, and thank you, Tim, for. Thank you, Tim, for reminding everybody to hit that thumbs up before you go.
That's right.
I just want to say this, guys. I'm in a very positive frame of mind because I've been in a few negative meetings today, and for whatever reason, I've been maintaining a positive frame of mind all day in some challenging things. And I was talking to one of the girls I work with today, just before coming out here. And she said, and I asked her, I said, hey, how are you doing? Because she's one of the supervisors that works for me. And I said, how are you doing? And she said, have you ever said it can't get any worse than this? And without even thinking about it, I just responded, yeah, I don't say that because I don't really want to hear God say, hold my beer. Because if you challenge God, it can't get any worse than this. It's fixing to come a flood. So y'all be positive. Don't say it can't get any worse than this. Say, hey, thank you for the challenge.
Yeah.
I'm glad I overcame it. Let's go on about having an awesome day.
That's right.
That's how I want to end this.
Now I want you guys to go over to Simple Life Reclaimed and tell them safety's off.
That's right.
Tell them safety is off. It is off. And don't forget, guys, we will be doing a premiere on Friday, hopefully at 4 o'clock.
Central Time.
Central Time. I will get that set up once I get the A-OK to do so on the computer machine. So thank y'all. We love you. We appreciate you. Safety's off. Hot mic. Hot mic.